title here says I'm talking about a career in web software design. I'm actually not a web developer or even a programmer by trade. My background is actually, I took a commerce degree. I had dual majors, one in management information systems and the other in marketing. So I'm going to focus a little bit more on the MIS side. So MIS, for those of you who may not be aware, is more the liaison between the business side, so what clients, what customers are asking for, and those who are the actual programmers. Now, I'm not sure where you guys are in terms of mindset. Do I want to be a programmer, really work in the code, or do I want to be a consultant and present the business needs and align that to the programming side? So I'm going to go at it from my perspective, but I also have some information from some of the people that I work with who are very techy, very geeky, really like the code, and they've actually shared some of their experiences and hoping to launch you into a career. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into my presentation. So who here, show of hands, has had bad service at a restaurant, at a theater, wherever? Look around you. Look around you. There's a lot of hands, so showing that people, some people are actually waving. There's a lot of companies who now realize that it's very important for them to understand what the customer needs are. Where are they failing in terms of delivering good service, delivering good product? So this is where the company that I work for, what used to be called Tell Us About Us, now Market Force, comes into play. So we actually deliver programs, services to companies who want to gather that customer feedback and recover that customer, because it actually costs a lot more to try to get new customers than it is to retain existing ones. So in the past, you'll have somebody who has had a negative experience at a retail store or something. They'll go and tell 10 friends. Their 10 friends may go and tell 10 of their friends. And it slowly escalates and it becomes a snowball effect. But now, with social media, one person, bad experience, tweets about it, 10,000 people get it. Those 10,000 people may retweet, and then within seconds, the world knows about it. So it's really important for clients, for companies, to try to stop that as soon as possible. So I'll get more into that, but for today, I'm going to talk a little bit more about where I work, what the company does, talk a bit more about the web software design, the business needs, the software solution, which I think you guys are mostly interested in, and then the challenges with web design and how to make that impactful. And then finally, I'm going to bring in some tips from some of my friends, coworkers who actually do the coding. Okay, so these are some of the brands that we work with within Canada. We work with, I think it's now 350 different brands throughout the world. These are the ones that you guys are probably more familiar with in the Canadian territory. So the three core products that Market Force operates is 1-800 customer services, so a call center, mystery shop, and then also customer surveys. So I'm going to talk a little bit about each of these programs. The 1-800 customer service call center is actually located at 185 Stradbrook. So if you have a praise or even a complaint about, say, Burger King, it's actually somebody here in Winnipeg who's taking that call. We basically take on the identity of the clients that we cater to. And then, like I said, we take in complaints and praises. So that's kind of the business need. Now, what does this mean for the software solution side? So Taylor here is calling our call center saying, hey, I found a worm in my food and it tasted just awful. Well, what do we do with that information? How do we translate that back to the client so they can actually do something about it? And how do we present that data so that they can actually say, oh, we actually have quality issues with our food in this specific territory within these locations. We should dispatch a team and fix that. So what we do is we've got the customer who actually places the call. And then we have to develop we actually have a proprietary software that collects the information. So we have to make sure that the data is collected in a very structured format. We can't just be typing up notes in a Word document. It's got to filter into a database. So we also have checks and balances within the form itself. We need to make sure that this customer isn't somebody who, as a hobby, likes to calling complaints. We have checks to make sure that this person hasn't called within the last, every day for the last 5 months or something like that. We want to make sure that that's in place. And then we take that information and then we disseminate it into an online software where the location level managers, middle management, and also corporate offices can access the information. So on the, I guess it's your right, we've got some of the example reports that we have. On the mystery shop program, so we also dispatch mystery shoppers who actually aren't MarketForce employees. They're people who, well, I guess most of you guys aren't 18, but anybody who's 18 and over, we put it out there that if you want to be a mystery shopper, if you want to get a free burger, if you want to get $5 off on your gas fuel or something like that, we actually have a form. You go in, you audit the site, you check something like, was the washroom clean? Were you greeted with a friendly smile at the counter? We collect all that information, and that's what mystery shoppers do. If you go to our website, www.marketforce.com, you can actually sign up to be a mystery shopper. So we're auditing for adherence to operational standards. So these standards are things that our clients have said, these are the things that are important to our business, and have your mystery shoppers go collect that information so we can see if there are any issues. And then we have the mystery shoppers go into another web portal where we're also doing the checks and balances to collect that information, and then we translate that into reports. So here's more of a diagram of what I just said. You have the shopper who does the audit. They basically input their report card there in the middle, and then it then gets disseminated, summarized into some of the reports you see on your right. The third core product that we have is customer surveys. So have you guys ever gone to Home Depot or even Kelsey's, some of the brands that I had talked about, and notice that on their receipt there's an invite at the bottom that says, hey, for your feedback, we'll give you a chance to win something or a $1 discount off to complete a survey. Has anybody seen that? Yeah, there's a couple of people who've seen that. More and more companies are doing that. The reason for that, as opposed to 1-800 or even mystery shops, is that you can get a lot more feedback this way than you would if it's a mystery shopper or you're waiting for somebody to call you about an issue. So where MarketForce comes into place, we're programming in mobile surveys. We're also doing computer surveys, and then also touch-tone phone. If anybody even still uses a phone anymore, we still do that. And then also you can scan in QR codes, links you right into the surveys. So that's the business need. Again, on the software solution side, we have an online survey engine, collects the information, and then once again, we disseminate it into reports that we push out to our clients. So some of the challenges that we've actually had with running all of these programs in a web-based system, we've had issues translating the business need from the client into a software package. So we have an online system. We have reports that are available for all of our clients, but then clients say, well, you know what, we kind of want the report tweaked a certain way, or I want to be able to trend in this way. Well, sometimes their ask can't be done over an extended amount of time. So we need to kind of think about the big picture and then decipher that and input that into programming code. So that's one of the challenges that we've had, and it might be something that you'll encounter in your careers. It's taking that business need and putting that into code and then just creating those reports back out. Another challenge is how do we increase the functionality of the existing reports of the existing programs to increase the functionality of things that we already have. So a metaphor that I heard was you start building a house. You put in windows, you put in doors, everything looks fantastic. Then you have more people who want to live in that house. And so you add additional rooms. And then you add additional windows to that. And then eventually you have a house that's this size that kind of grows like this. Well, eventually you're not going to get good air flow from the outside of the house into the inside. So you have to think about how to add additional rooms without affecting the core. So that's kind of the issues that we have right now. The software that we have is over 10 years old. So trying to add additional functions to it can be a constraint. Also, we want to reuse code for maximum efficiency. And so we have clients that say, well, build me this. Okay, client, we can build you that. But wait, we can resell that. So how do we make this customization available for other clients? Well, you have to put in additional hours, you have to put in additional configurations, but it's that forethought. So that's adding the flexibility and something you have to take into consideration. We also have to consider where to store the data and what to store. So it may not be a function of a web software designer. It's more of a database administrator. But as the developer, you have to figure out, well, from what databases do I need to pull the information, and what is the most efficient way of pulling that information? Do I call on that server multiple times within this report? Do I only call it once and have the report process it multiple times? You have to figure that out, so that's another challenge. Once again, the importing, exporting data, so how are we getting that information? As I mentioned, we work with multiple clients, but they also have multiple vendors. So sometimes they actually have another one of their vendors sending us data that we then bang up against our information and then create the reports. So how do you import their data and then to export it out? Once again, scalability, it's more of that house metaphor. And also adapting to new technology. So when I first started with MarketForce, we were using ASP code to create all of our reports. Back in, what was it? I think it was 2008, around there. We realized that that's really old code. It's not really supported by many of the browsers and things like that. So we needed to change over to .NET. That was a huge overhaul. We basically had to rewrite every single report that we had available. We had to test everything. We had core products or core reports, but we also had customized reports. So it was a total nightmare. Not to mention that we actually had some people deciding to move on their career, so we didn't have enough testers. That was a totally different issue. But adapting to new technologies and when to adapt to new technologies can also be another challenge. So I asked them, how did you guys start to become a software developer? A lot of them actually responded with, it was self-taught. Some of them actually started at about the same age as you guys and just found some web pages, found some code that they were really interested in, and their terminology, not mine, was that they tried to hack it. They tried to get behind the code, try to figure out how it worked so that they could learn on their own. Google it. There's a lot of resources out there. If you even just put in a question, hey, how do I do this? There's actually a whole bunch of blogs that will tell you how to do it. Hands-on experience, so even offered to create web pages for your friends and family or your church groups or whatever organizations that you're associated with. It's by putting yourself in that situation, you then learn what the needs are from the user's perspective so that you can develop according to those needs. And then a lot of them actually went to Red River College for the hands-on learning. One of the people that I talked to mentioned that there is quite a significant difference between learning at a university in computer science versus something like a college. Colleges are more hands-on, you get right into the code, whereas university, it's more theoretical and how to develop new things. So that may be something that you want to consider. University or college. Another tip I asked them was, how do they stay current? Because as much as they are developing right now, technology changes. Every day, something changes. So what do they do to stay current? They follow blogs, Twitter accounts. They actually even do videos like the Channel 9, join some local conferences. And I apologize, you can't really see the links, but you can download those for more information on some of the local organizations. And then when you're up to the part where you're doing interviews, that may be something you want to ask the companies. Do you offer additional training? MarketForce actually doesn't. We say, hey, great, if you know this kind of solution, go and program it, figure it out, but we don't actually put in any budget to train our developers. So that's something you want to ask. Now some tips for high school students who are looking to enter the field. Continuous learning. Know that technology keeps changing, so you'll need to keep yourselves updated. Find your passion. Is this something that you love? Is there a specific type of code that you're interested in? I heard that C# is something that is very easy to learn. Some of the other developers talked about some other languages, and you'll find those in the appendix.